done all the symbols except the ones that were on top of the arrows, right? All right, so at the bell, I had written this, probably this, and this. All right, and what did we say the arrow with the triangle meant? Heat is out, okay? Sometimes reactions do not occur on their own, okay? Sometimes you have to heat a reaction. So even though the triangle in math class means change in, when you write it on a yield sign, it means heat is added. Now, the remaining two that we didn't talk about mean something completely different. 2 ATM, first of all, it's not referring to a bank sign, means 2 atmospheres of pressure. Now, it does not have to say 2. The ATM stands for atmospheres of pressure. It could say 3, 4, 5. 1 atmosphere is sort of room pressure, okay? Atmospheres is the SI unit for pressure. Here in the United States, we use inches of mercury. We're going to talk about 5 units of pressure down the road. But atmospheres is a typical unit of pressure. 1 is pretty normal atmospheric pressure. So 2 would be increasing the pressure on a reaction. You could have 3, 4, 5. But know that if you write a pressure on it, you're essentially increasing the pressure on a reaction. And RxN is the abbreviation for reaction I will be using the rest of the semester. Okay? Now, would you have a compound name written on an arrow? This is something you've seen in biology class. A compound name written on an arrow is a catalyst is added. All right, tell me what you remember about a catalyst from biology class. What's it do? That's right. It starts or speeds up a reaction. Okay? And we'll talk about it later in the semester also in terms of endo and exothermic reaction and activation energy and with some graphs and things. But for right now, as long as you know that it speeds up a reaction and makes it go faster, that's all I need you to know. And it may not say MnO2. That's just an example of a catalyst that I put on top of the arrow. But if there's any compound name written on top of the arrow, you need to know that it is a catalyst, and that's what its function is. Okay? Now, like I told you Friday, I won't talk about these again. The next time you see them will be when? The test. Okay? So those of you who never look at them again, like I said, I get some very creative answers test day. All right. So, we talked about the law of conservation of mass, right? Mass is not created or destroyed. So now we're ready to talk about balancing. Now, there are really no notes to go with balancing equations. All we're going to do is work some examples. Because balancing equations is essentially trial and error. Some of you will be very good at it very quickly. Some of you will struggle a little bit. There's no rhyme or reason for why some of you are good at it and some of you are terrible at it, okay? The more you do, the better you get, okay? Do not get frustrated and mad if you're not one of the first 5 who gets it right initially. It just takes a little bit, okay? If you can multiply and add, you can get it. And we can all multiply and add. Now, when you go to balance, I'm going to leave out all the symbols. We need to talk about 2 numbers, okay? These numbers right here are called what? Subscripts, okay? Okay, tell the number of atoms. Okay? Now, the thing to remember is we never change a subscript. Okay, never. We can't touch those numbers. Never, ever, ever change a subscript. The only numbers that we can touch or change are the other numbers. We're going to change these numbers. The numbers we're going to change are coefficients. We add and change coefficients. Now, the reason I said that we can change them is if we put one there and it won't work, who's the person who put those there? You did or I did. And if it's not the right coefficient, we can do what? We can change it. Now, look at where I drew the green lines. They're in front of the compound. Those are the only places that you can put numbers. Sometimes I have students who want to put numbers right here to try to balance the O. Can I put a number right here? No, I can't put a number in the middle of the compound. If I want to put a number to balance this O, it has to go where? In front of it. Now, this is just like math class. The numbers multiply and distribute. So if I put, let's say, a 3 in front of x plus 4, what happens to that 3? It becomes 3x plus 12, right? Everybody knows that in math class. It does the same thing in chemistry class. So if I put a 3 in front of Fe2O3, that 3 goes to Fe, and that 3 goes to O. So how many Fe's would I have? Well, the numbers multiply. So 3 times that 2 on the Fe would be how many? I'd have 6 Fe's, and then I'd have 3 times 3, and I'd have how many O's? I'd have 9, okay? So when you put a number out front, it multiplies and it distributes. Does that make sense? Okay? As long as you can keep that straight, then we should be good on balancing. All right. Now, balanced elements by themselves. Pick either O and balance the O's first, or pick Fe and balance the Fe's first. Balance single elements. Don't try to do Fe and O together. Okay? It just gets boggled up in your brains. So, which element would you like to balance first? Okay? How many Fe's are here? How many Fe's are here? So, if we have 2 on this side, we need 2 on this side. Now, if there's no subscript here, we understand it to be a 1, right? The numbers multiply. So if I need 2 on this side, 1 times what will give me 2? So we put a 2 there. 2 times 1 is 2. I have how many here? So the Fe's are balanced. Now, I need to balance my O's. How many O's are here? How many O's are here? There's no number that will multiply times 3 to give me 2. There's no number that will multiply times 2 to give me 3. So I need to think math class. What number do 2 and 3 have in common? 6. So I need to get 6 on both sides. So 2 times what will give me 6? 3 times what will give me 6? Now, think about what we just said. When I put that 2 out front, that number does what? It multiplies and distributes. So I made how many Fe's? I made 4 Fe's. And I made how many O's? I made 6 O's. Now, some of you may find that it's helpful to write it down. I will tell you, other than for instructional purposes right now, I don't ever write this stuff down. I do it all in my head. Okay? I'm just emphasizing for instructional purposes to show you the counting. Okay? So, you made 4 Fe's and 6 O's. So on this side, you need to double check to make sure you still have 6 O's and 4 Fe's. Do we still have 6 O's? We're good to go there. Do I have 4 Fe's? We're not good to go. Who put that 2 there? Get rid of it. I need 4 Fe's. How do I get 4 Fe's? We put a 4 there. 4 times 1 is 4. Now it's balanced. Questions? All right, let's try another one. Now, I draw the lines the first day just for instructional purposes. I won't draw the lines tomorrow. So when we look at the equation, again, pick an element to start with. Now, some of you look at it and you're like, I don't know which one to pick. Pick one that has a subscript. Okay, don't pick one that's got a 1. It won't do anything for you. If it's got a 1, it's balanced. So pick something that has a number other than 1. Okay? So, how many CLs are here? How many CLs are here? Can we get 2 CLs on this side? Can I get 5 CLs on this side? So what number do 5 and 2 have in common? How do I get 10 CLs here? Okay, because 2 times 5 is 10. How do I get 10 CLs here? Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. Now, when I did that, how many SBs did we make? Because these multiply and distribute. Okay. Can I get 2 SBs here? How do I do that? Okay, because 2 times 1 is 2. How many F's did I make? Can I get 10? How? See a place doesn't have a subscript? A coefficient? All right, double check somebody. See if it's got the right number. Who do you want to check? Let's check F. How many F's are here? How many F's are here? How many SBs? How many SBs? So it's done. Huh? Is it too late to drop out? I tell my daughter that every day she gets out of bed. Yes, it's too late. She cannot be homeless. She cannot work at McDonald's without a high school diploma. So yes. Huh? What about chlorine? How many chlorines are here? You have 5, but what's out here? So there's how many? 10. There's how many here? 10. Let's do an easy one. All right, this is an easy one. It is. They don't get a lot easier than this. And we got to have everything done by next Tuesday because you got to test Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. No, all of balanced and chemical equations. You have to be ready to test on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not kidding. All right. So when you look at this equation, all right, I put a polyatomic ion in it. We're going to balance polyatomic ions as whole units. Okay? And I didn't put parentheses on this side, right? So you're going to draw in the parentheses. So what's inside these parentheses? So SO4 has to be inside the parentheses. So I put that 4 inside so it matches this side, right? Now, I don't care what's inside the parentheses. Okay? Doesn't matter to me because we're balancing it as a whole unit. Okay? It's sulfate. Doesn't matter that it's called sulfate. It's just a whole unit to you. How many of these zigzaggy things do you have? You have 7. Okay? We have how many zigzaggies? 7. I need how many zigzaggies over here?
7.
So where am I going to put 7 for the zigzaggies? In the front. Remember, you can draw in the lines. They have to be in the front though. Okay? So, zigzaggies, the number outside is a what right there?
1.
So 1. It's what here?
7.
Everybody okay on how we made that connection? Okay, so 1 times what will give me 7?
7.
That's how we put a 7 there. Okay? We don't have to count what's inside. Okay? They're all the same because they match. 7 times 2 made how many NAs? How do I get 14 NAs? That's right, because there's only 1 there. I just have to put 14 there. Okay? From there, all we have left is in it, MN. How many MNs are here?
2.
How many are there? So I'm going to write a what?
But doesn't that change the 7?
Why would it change to 7?
Like the 2 would go to the 7 subscript. No? You're looking at the grade level.
This SO4 is independent of MN. That 7 does not go to the MN.
But it doesn't have a plus sign in the middle. Like it's the same thing, right? Like the same
This 7 only goes to this thing. It does not go to that.
No, like what number you say goes in front of him of the first?
Oh, what would we put in front of the MN?
Like, because wouldn't that affect the 7?
No. What would we put in front of it? I heard it.
A 1?
Sure. You could put a 1 here if you really wanted to put a number there. Or you could just leave it blank. You could do either one.
So the 1 doesn't distribute to the 7.
Sure it does. What's 1 times 7?
7.
Carolina's lost.
I know this. And this, she said this is something great. So even so, if that was like that still would that still. We can move on.
All right, let's try something different. Let's. Yes. It doesn't go away, people.
Okay, so I get like we wouldn't use this ever. Like you've already said that. But what any other person that doesn't just normally use this? I really don't want to about it. No, I would have no idea about that.
What do you want to know?
Like who would use this? Like the scientific people. What would they do?
People who are majoring in science, chemists would use this, biology majors would use this. People in everyday life would never use
No,
this.
but like, why would they do this? Just for fun? Say they do it just for fun. Like, is it? I don't get why you would do it, even if you studied.
It would depend on what you were doing as to why you would need it. But most of my course, you would not use ever in everyday life.
I get that.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you take AP Calculus. You're not going to use AP Calculus beyond high school. You're not going to use it in life.
You don't know that.
I'm not.
I've taken 3 semesters of calculus. I can't recall the last time I used it. Why? Because I was a math minor.
It would not be me.
Other than using it when I taught, I've never used any of the math that I took in college. No, I was going to do it with you. I was just giving you a write it
Is
down.
that a 3 or 2 on the last C?
On the last C, C204, it's oxalate. All right, so when we look at this one, again, pick something. Do not try to do them all at once.
Can we pick the little single?
All right, pick which one you want to ziggy out.
The three. The one with the substance, they got you.
You want to do the C204 or the PO4?
C204.
Okay, so the C204.
Okay.
So if we ziggy out the C204, okay, how many C204s? How many over here? There's only one, so we're going to put what here? Okay, so how many silvers did y'all make? So we need to make 6 silvers here. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so this time I'm going to make an X instead of a ziggy. So how many X's did we make? 2. Okay, so this time we got to make 2 X's. How do I make 2 X's? Okay, so that made how many nickels?
2.
Okay, how many nickels are here?
2.
So you can either leave it blank or you can put a what?
Okay, it makes sense.
Is it maybe one of those things where you don't want to put a 1 later on?
Huh?
Is it one of those things where you don't want to put a 1 later on? Because I will always like to start one.
You can put a 1 or not. It doesn't matter. I will not take off if you do. Some people will, some people won't. I do not care. It's fine. I do not care which one you choose. All right. Now,
Wait.
go back.
The PO6. The first one. Oh, you put 2 over the silver 4.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
You sure? All right. Now, the last one that I was going to work with you before I let you try some is one like this.
Wait.
What?
I'm not ready. I need to get my mind right.
I need to go get a new one.
And y'all are moaning, I have to teach you some physical science. You ought to be here for that.
This one looks similar. I like this one a lot. Watch it won't be good.
All right. This is usually the one that causes the most issues. And it causes the most issues because there are C's and H's in the vast majority of the compounds. Now, which element do you think I would recommend you start with? No. I would do the O last. Why do you think I would tell you to do the O last? Because it's by itself and we can fix it last and put whatever we need in front of it. I would either do the C or the H first. Okay? I typically start with C because it's first and then do H. But O would be last because it's by itself and then I can come in and write whatever I need last. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you do C or H first. So how many C's do we have? So I'm going to put what here? Okay. How many H's? So am I going to get 8?
4.
Okay. Now, this is where people get hung up. You have O's in both of these compounds. What is between them? That's right. So you have to add the O's from this compound and this compound. So how many O's are here? Plus, how many O's are here? So you have a total of how many O's on the product side? There are 10 on the product side. So, according to the law of conservation, if there are 10 on this side, there have to be 10 on this side. So, we're going to put what here? Okay? And then if you want, you can still write a 1 there. Does that make sense? Okay. You're going to try multiples on you. I want.
Can we start with one? Can we do like one?
Can you do like 1 at a time? I was thinking like 9.
You're a kid.
No.
We need the rest of the class, don't we? No, please don't. I'll put that.
The first couple are baby ones to get you started. And then they get a little harder. How's that? We're only doing 1 through 9 because I've not talked about word equations yet. You what?
Mislearning the alphabet.
Mislearning the alphabet. I might have 4 there. Still can't tell how many sheets of paper I have when I do this. Nope, I think I got one extra. Oh, did I mention there's a quiz tomorrow? And it's on balancing?
What?
What? Thank you. Okay, you go. Go, that was the way.
Okay, be quiet.
Mine already broke.
That's my point.
Mine's not broken on the first. Come on.
Yes, it is.
Mine doesn't work now.
Do you still need personality?
Yeah, turn it in. It's practice. I go roll around and help those of you who need help. See, you got number 1, right? Mine's not broken. Yes. Yes. Wait. How many FEs you got here? All right, let's start. Yes, you would. Yes. That's correct. Who else has a question? Yes? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You do? Mm-hmm. Pinch cut. Pinch cut. All that one, you already done. Okay. How would you guys? You don't like 6, you need 6. So how do you get 6? You already got 2 there. Yes. No. You're doing fine. If you're down that far, you're doing
I
fine.
skipped 3 though. Cause I think I really do. I think that was 3.
You gotta add the O's on the left.
Yeah, 3 is hard.
Y'all are overlooking adding the O's on the left. How many O's you got on the right? Huh? You put a 2 in front of H2O4
Yes.
or H2O, what is it, HNO2?
I put a 2 in front of H2. has to be for the NGO.
It's in front of HNO2. Where we at? You're gonna have to break it apart instead of leaving it like that. So you've got Ballinger CLs. Ballinger CLs first and break everything apart and count each one. Put Ballinger N's, which you did. So you got two N's. Now you got two H's. How many O's you got? You got them 7.
If I add it over, I mean.
That's 4. That's got 4. Now, this side has how many? So it has how many on this side? 3 plus. So that's, and this side has how many? So 4 equals 4. Oh. Yes. Yes. Did you get number 3? Take all this off. Okay. Erase it. Balance your N. How many N's? 2. Balance N.
What happens when we get multiple numbers?
You gotta be in lowest terms. How many H's you got? How many H's you got? Now, tell me how many O's are on that side. 4. Okay. Tell me how many O's are on this side. 4.
Oh. Oh.
But there's no H.
Where? 3 A. All right. This one is tricky for a lot of people. How many N's you got? So balance your N's. Okay.
That's my phone.
All right. How many H's you got? 2, right? So you got 2. How many H's are here? Okay, so that's good. Now, how many O's do you have right here? Okay, so there's 4 on this side. Now tell me how many you got on that side. Yeah. That's what most people say. 3 plus. So that's what they get lost, because they forget that these acts, 1 plus 3 is 4, so there's 4, and there's 4 on that side, so balance is 2. You can write it once there, so it makes you happy. All right, who else has questions? Yes. Balance your CLs, and then you gotta balance everything else separately. You gotta break up that OH. You can't balance it with parentheses. Yeah, so there's 2 O's and 2 H's on the left. And then you gotta balance your O's and H's on the right. Because it's not written as OH on the other side. Yeah.
You just.
This is 6. 2 nitrates, 2 nitrates. You got. Could be. Silvers. Yeah, because you have to put anything from coppers and those ones. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah, I don't know where you got the 3 from. Where'd you get the 3 from? What do you think? Okay, yeah, it's the ones outside. The 1 times 2. Yeah, the other one is. All right, who said something? Well, there.
What the heck?
You're gonna have to break these apart, because there's no OH on this side. So you're gonna have to say there's two H's and two O's. So you'll add those to two H's plus two H's is four H's. And then balance. Balance your CLs. So two CLs, put your two there for your CL. And then because there's no OH like this on this side, you gotta break it apart. So how many H's are here? So two H's plus two H's, so you a total of four H's on this side. So get four H's on that side. Right, so how many feet down increase? How many down increase? Yep, so you can't get three, you can't get two, so what do 2 and 3 have in common? Make 6 on each side. Right, 6. Yes. Now balance your ATVs, ATVs are there. So make 3 on the other side. Make A over there. Make 2 on the other side. Okay. Yeah. All right, you balance your CLs, you got 2 CLs. Check your H's, how many H's are here, how many H's are there? How many H's here? Plus how many are here? So you need 4.
Okay.
So make how many O's? How many O's? Yep. Like that. Except you don't have an OH here, balanced with an OH there. Yep, you have to add your H's and O's separately. Now the PO4 you can do that way, but the OH can't. Okay, so I'll show you something, which I haven't shown you yet. I'll show you differently what water.
Okay.
So now, the thing I would tell you is balance your other elements other than O and H first. Okay, so go ahead and do your K and your PO4. So you got how many Ks? Balance your K. You've already done the PO4, it looks like. So 1 PO4, 1 PO4. All right, so for that. For that. All right, so there's 3 Ks, 3 Ks, 1 PO4, 1 PO4. Now on the H's. So how many H's are here? 3. How many H's are here? So that's a total of 6. And you put how many waters are there? 6. So you've got the H's covered. How many O's do we make? 3. How many O's are here? 3. We're good. Yes, undo. Undo NA and CL. When you guys are balancing and you're struggling on which elements to pick, which elements would I generally do last? Any ideas? I would do O and H last. I would go ahead and do the elements that are like metals, like the Na, the K, the Cl. I would go ahead and do those first. And then I'd do O and H last. All right, look at this last one. See how you have 2, 4, 4, 2, and 2. What can you do to all of those coefficients? All reducible by 2. That is the thing I get that because only these terms you need to reduce.
No.
I'm here to go over the answers. No, that's right. No, that was right. Pretty sure that was right. Did a quick scan, yes. But again, that's a quick one.
What'd you say? What did you say?
No, it's close. That should be a 6 based on the numbers you have.
Say what you said.
Because you have 6 Ks, 6 Ks, You have how many H's here? And six, so how many? How many you need there? You said you're at 12 H's. And you can- Yeah, you need 6 there.
Wouldn't that change the?
You probably heard
You have 6 O's.
What'd you say?
Now, at all your coefficients. You have 6, 2, 2, 6. That's what you do to all your coefficients. Exactly. Yeah. They're correct. The only thing you need to do is you have 4, 2, 4, 2. What you do to 4, 2, 4, 2. What can you do to the numbers 4, 2, 4, 2? Simplify to 2, 1, 2, 1. Draw on it. Got a question? Ask. All right, very small. Square. Okay. All right, how many A's do you have? I'll try next. All right, let's pick corn next. How many corn do you have? But you do 2 there, so that made how many? So make 2. All right, let's do sulfur next. How many sulfurs? Yeah, it's got 3. Oh, there's no parentheses. So that means there's just 1. So how many sulfurs are there? 2. Again, parentheses. If there's no parentheses, that 2 only goes there. See the difference? So there's 1 there. So that's good. So now we're just left with O's and H's. So how many H's are here? All right. How many are here? All right, so that one's good. So now we're down to O's. How many O's are here? All right, and we have O's in 2 places. How do I get the O's on that side? How many do I have? Yep. That's it. Okay. Anybody else? Question? All right, let's go over what you got. Pretty sure I have this set up in Smart Notebook. All right, so in the first one, we should have 2 O's, right? So we put a 2 to balance my O's. That made 2 mg's, 2 mg's. 3 O's and 2 O's, so we put a 2 there to make 6. A 3 to make 6, that made 4, so we put a 4. So in number 3, we had 2 N's. We put 2 there to make 2 N's. That made 2 H's. We had 2 H's. This made 4 O's. We had 3 and 1. 3 plus 1 made 4. Number 4, we had 4 and 4, 3, and then we had 4 plus or times 2, which is 8. So we put a 4 there. All right. Number 5, 2 and 3. So we put a 2 there to make 6. A 3 there to make 6. That's 3 leads. We made 3 leads, 2 aluminums. This one I drew in parentheses. There's 1 nitrate and 2 nitrates. So I put a 2 there to make 2. I made 2 silvers, 2 silvers, 1 copper, 1 copper. This one, now, here's a tip for you. If you really want to be able to use the OH in parentheses, you can write water as HOH. Okay? Water is hydrogen hydroxide. You can write water that way if you prefer to use the parentheses. You don't have to, though. It's just a tip if you like it. All right? So 2 chlorines, 2 chlorines, you have 2 H's and 2 H's, which is how many? 4. So you had to put a 2 here to make 4 hydrogens, just 2 O's, 2 O's, so that's good. 1 Ca, 1 Ca. All right, this one caused some issues for people. Balance your K's and PO4s first. PO4, a lot of you put in parentheses, so there's 1, so that was good. 3 K's, 3 K's. That gave you how many H's here? 3. And then you had 3 here, which is 6. So you needed 3 there to make 6. 3 O's, 3 O's. And then the last one, there's 2 NAs, 2 NAs, 2 chlorines, 2 chlorines, 1 sulfur, 1 sulfur. Then you're left with H's and O's again. So you got 2 H's, 2 H's, 3 O's, 1 plus 2, which is 3 O's. Now, the only thing I give partial credit for, and a few of you had something like this, okay? ABL had this on the bottom one. He had a 4. No, he didn't. He had a, whoops. Go back. See if I can get this in the right spot. He had, change colors here. He had 2 here, 4 here, 4 here, 2 here, and 2 here. He would get partial credit for that one. What's wrong with his coefficients? They're not lowest form. Okay. Caroline had, and this one, she had 6 and 3, 3. No, she had 2. Wasn't it 2? Yeah, 6, 2.
6, 2, 2.
2, 2, and 6 on this one. Okay, same thing. She would get partial credit. All right, there's nothing wrong with their answers. They're just not lowest terms, so they get partial credit. Okay, so make sure you double check and make sure you've reduced your coefficients to lowest terms. Questions about how to balance? Do you feel better about it?
Sure.
No, no. You got homework on it tonight. That's going to help. Sure, it's going to help. It'll either be tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. All right. Let's talk word equations. I got 10 minutes or 5 minutes. We can start. Now, word equations are just that. This is why I told you on the test, if you couldn't write formulas into symbols, you need to get help. Because if you can't translate words into symbols, we're in deep doo-doo. We're in deep doo-doo quick. All right? Now, before we can do word equations, we're either going to have elements or we're going to have compounds. So, there are 7 elements. How did I get wiring? Oh, I didn't hit the right thing. All right. There are 7 elements on the periodic table that never exist alone. All right? They never exist alone. They always form a compound or they exist as a diatomic molecule if by themselves. All right? So there are 7 elements on the periodic table that just don't exist alone. Their electrons are such that they will not exist separately. So they either form a compound with a different element or they bond to another atom of themselves. Okay? I think of them as girls. How many of you have ever seen girls go to the bathroom by themselves? Yeah, the girls raise their hand.
I go.
Guys didn't raise their hands.
If I'm in
Okay.
a public place.
The girls sort of have that pack mentality. They go to the bathroom in packs. Okay? Diatomic molecules are a little bit that same way. Okay? Hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine.
So pretty much like.
Not all the ides, but a lot of them. All of these can have ides. Now,
But we need to know like.
yeah, you're going to need to know them all.
Use it, but like, do we need to know the individual elements?
Yes, you do. And I'm going to show you how to memorize them. Now, they form a pattern on the periodic table. Several people have told me it looks sort of like an upside down L with a period. Some people told me it looked like a bullet with a gun. All right. I don't particularly care for any of those. All right. Hector, now, ohms, 5, clear, brown, iguanas.
How do you know clear brown iguana?
You don't. All right. However, it's a stupid sentence, but it's one that's fairly easy to remember. So if you're somebody who likes to remember stupid sentences, all right, it's an easy one to remember. So if you're into silly, the letters match the symbols, like clear, Cl for chlorine, brown, Br for bromine, and iguanas for iodine. Okay? Now, the reason I started that today is because you've got to get a head start on learning those settings, because they are going to be your nemesis in both math and writing word equations. Okay? All right? Your homework tonight is only the front side balancing 1 through 13. We've not learned how to do what we're going to do with word equations yet, so leave the back alone. Okay? Y'all are balancing 1 through 13. And I will take the quiz under advisement. All right, tomorrow we will do word equations and types of equations. Like I said, we got to be ready to test next Tuesday. I don't think I won't be here.